What's up, gamers? Aaron Shack here, and we are live with special guest ActingRelic to talk about the Game Awards, everything about the latest news in gaming and pop culture here. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Aaron. It's been a fun little bit that we'll talk more about because Aaron was kind enough to gift me a copy of Helldivers, and it has consumed all my free time when I'm not at work.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
But let's start things off by going back through our list of nominees and winners for the Game Awards here. So there's a couple categories where we kind of just sort of jumped over what was going on in terms of choices, just because we didn't have that much input on the overall just nominees that were there. The first one that we had some thoughts on was Content Creator of the Year here. Winner for Queso, which I've heard lots of people are like, this is pretty cool because I don't really watch a lot of Queso stuff, but people who do, I saw this one comment where to certain people, Queso makes them feel like early 2010s YouTube.
Oh.
Basically that era of and it was actually, I believe it was Jacksepticeye who said that, where it's like, this feels like the era that I started in, was what Queso does now, which is pretty cool because a lot of people are kind of nostalgic for that era of content creation in just like the general vibe of it, of it's just kind of like people doing it for fun and like the money is tertiary. It's like, oh, okay, I make money so that I can keep doing this thing that I enjoy doing, rather than the money being the focal point, basically objective A, and making content being almost objective B. And it's much more about like, how much money can we make about that? How can we merch this out? Can we get sponsorships? All these things. It's like, no,
Yes.
make good stuff and worry about the bills afterwards.
Right? No, I like that. That's a really good sales pitch for him. I kind of wish I had known that beforehand.
Yeah.
He seems
I will
cool.
say
Check
I
that out.
really liked, so my vote at least, and I think yours as well, Aaron, was Pekara. So Pekara did a full, like, she watched the Game Awards and did commentary over the different winners and nominees. I really liked what she said at the end here of when she congratulated Queso on winning, and she ended with sort of the phrase of, I have a new dream now. I have to continue working hard.
Aww.
It's like she didn't take the loss as like, oh, I lost. That's too bad. It's just like, nope, I've got a new goal now. I gotta keep doing what I do to get better at it. That is also a very Japanese mentality thing. A lot of Japanese creators and stuff like that have that very much mentality of, well, we see it with Miyazaki, where it's just like, yeah, Elden Ring's not my best version of my game. And it's like, what the do you mean?
What do you mean?
What's better than this?
I can't possibly imagine.
I don't know. So yeah, no, pretty cool on that front to see somebody who's being recommended as very much nostalgic to a lot of other content creators as being the winner there.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, and then going previous on our list here, most anticipated, GTA 6. No surprise.
No surprise, dude.
Jay was pretty adamant about like, okay, the other nominees are here, but we know which one we're picking.
Yeah, that's for real, dude. That's 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And
we're going to wait for Nintendo to hear some more. I'm serious, man. Like, they gotta.
What's going on with Metroid?
Yeah, what's going on there? You know, like,
yeah.
We gotta get that. Like, I don't imagine Nintendo's gonna do anything till next year. You know, because it's already holidays. You know.
I have at this point, it makes logical sense that what is that, Prime? Is that Prime 4?
Yeah, Prime 4.
Prime 4, I can see Prime 4 being a launch title for Switch 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's already been stuff about like companies getting information about what Switch 2 is going to be like. So I think Prime 2 is a pretty good seller for a new console for people who have been waiting on a Metroid Prime game.
And it has been a few years since Odyssey, so they might have a Mario game teed up as well.
Right, that's true.
Which is always pretty key to drop like a 3D Mario.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be a strong launch title, dude, to have like a high-performance first-person shooter like Metroid Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. All right. Should we move on to the next?
Sure. No surprises here. Like, I think we all basically said Fallout for adaptation.
Yeah.
Like, I still have to go and watch it. I'm hoping that I have some time off coming up pretty soon from time off from work. So I'm hoping to watch both. I might do both Fallout and get through Secret Levels, which I've been hearing very interesting things about. I've seen many shorts and animated GIFs of the Warhammer episode for Secret Levels.
Yeah, I keep seeing those little glimpses, yeah. I need to check it out myself. That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that it's one of those things where Warhammer is supposedly the best one of the core set.
I would imagine.
And that's beyond if you're a 40k fan. It's just like
it's just
this
that
one
good.
It's just really well done. I think because it had sort of like it had some stuff to stand on where it was like, okay, it's a sequel to the game. It's continuing the story of Titus and friends.
Oh, that's sick.
Whereas the other ones are like, okay, story.
Just like a random story in the universe, right?
I've heard unironically that the Concord episode is actually pretty good.
Oh, snap. I was like, hey, as long as it doesn't ignite like people to like want them to seriously remake the game, guys, like almost like the Morbius thing where it's like, no, we were all busy that weekend. Like, listen, just bring it back to theater. And then they did, and then nobody went.
Here's the problem. If they bring it back, Aaron, and then gets to die next to Marvel Rivals.
Oh! Yeah.
Because it's a hero shooter, and
no,
like,
not a chance,
not even Overwatch can stop Rivals right now.
Yeah. Dude, it's all the craze, and we're going to have to talk about that some more, today.
We'll talk about that in a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah, no surprises that follow.
Is there anything else here that you want to see in this category? Are there any of these other shows kind of pique your interest, or not really?
I've heard lots of good things about Arcane.
Yeah, same.
And
I'm not a League
there's
guy.
A part of me that wants to watch it, but it's also like I've never been involved with League or anything that Riot really makes. I've kind of kept myself at an arm's distance from that.
Mm-hmm.
I find it interesting, but I also I have many friends who have played League, and they look at me and they just go, don't be like us.
Nobody recommends it, dude. I ask people all the time. They don't. They're like, no, don't do it. I'm like, well, why are you playing it?
It's like, I'm already too far in.
Too far. Yeah, I can't get out.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So that's, I'd say Arcane's definitely and at some point I feel like I'm just going to do an entire thing of just watch all the Sonic movies back to back to back. So do Sonic 1, 2, Knuckles, and then when 3 is coming out soon. And then apparently they're working on the next one that's going to be released in 2027.
That's insane. They're never going to stop. It's just going to be like Marvel, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
Just keep adding.
I guess, the thing is, as long as they're all consistently, good,
yeah,
I can't see a reason not to. if people are having fun and they're making it's making good money on across the boards and everybody's like happy overall, I can see a reason not to stop.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. So it's more or less all I have on adaption there.
Yeah. I would like to see Yakuza. I haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
No buzz about it. Like, nobody talks about it online. And usually Amazon stuff is pretty well done. Usually a lot of their shows turn out pretty good. But I'm unsure. There's no buzz over here in the States about that one.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Let's see what else then. Let's go to our next category here. Best multiplayer, huh?
Yes. So this is the one that upon seeing it, I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Because again, my vote was for Space Marine 2.
Yeah.
That was until I played Helldivers 2, and I'm like, nope, this one. I'm sorry.
No way, dude. I voted your way too.
You're not Helldivers 2.
Yeah.
Like this, because
yeah,
what I like about the differences between the two games is that Space Marine 2 is very much like, hey, pick your loadout, pick your thing, go in, and like it's various ranges of like amount of focus that you have to have on the mission. Say like at level 2 average difficulty, you can kind of just having a thing, doing your stuff. When you start going up into higher, like tier 3, tier 4, okay, we need to focus a little bit more, tag different enemies and do different things. And it's all like very much, all right, we're here. We are the full power as Marines because that's all we've got. It's just us three, our equipment, and whatever comes our way. Helldivers feels more at times like a goddamn party game where it's just like, all right, there's 4 of us. We've all got our random stratagems that we've picked. How many lives we got? We got 20. All right, let's fuck around. Who fucking cares? Throw mortar shots and 500 kilogram bombs everywhere. And it's just like, it doesn't matter until you get down to like maybe 2 or 3 reinforcements left. Then it's just like
when everybody's on their last life.
But that first like 5 to 10 minutes, it's just the dumbest stuff ever where it's just like, all right, we need to go kill that thing over there. We could walk over, shoot our way in, throw grenades, and be all tactical.
Yeah.
Or I can just like stand here about 100 meters away and just chuck grenades at this thing until I even the wall down enough that I can throw a like stratagem beacon so that I can hit it with this orbital strike.
Yes.
And the other thing that I really like about Helldivers is that a lot of games treat player death in a very particular way. Say like a Souls game. If you die, it's a boss reset, you got to go back. Say if you're playing with co-op, say when we were fighting Consort Radon, and it's just like, all right, we just got to survive and tank through this so we can get a chance at maybe beating him. And you do it again and again and again. But with Helldivers, until you get to those ladder reinforcements, death doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, I lost my my stratagem gun that I dropped in. I have to respawn and go get it. But it doesn't matter. It can be a thing of, all right, I'm going to waste a reinforcement, but just run in, throw a 500 kg at my feet, and just let the bugs come to me. It's
right.
Like, okay, we lost a guy, but we took out like 50 bugs.
Yeah, you can throw bodies at the problem. I mean, let's not pretend real war doesn't go that way.
Exactly, yeah. Like, it's this weird thing of in-universe stuff, like, in the universe of the game, stuff is taken rather seriously. But as players interfacing with the game, it's just like, man,
it's
this
wacky.
is the dumbest shit ever. Like, this is very much all these different satirical books and movies and shows wrapped into one thing altogether. And it's taking itself hyper seriously, but it's like our characters are shouting all these sayings and propaganda stuff, and it's just like,
Yeah.
man, this is dumb.
It really
I
is.
love it.
It's the Starship Troopers of video games, you know, it's just
100%.
it's something where the people in the movie are taking it very seriously, but you as the viewer are just like laughing and, you know, you're understanding the satirical value of everything. But yeah, I see how the gameplay is so different and how it really reinvents the multiplayer game and makes it into a community game.
Yeah. And I really like how one of the other things that's interesting about it is where with Space Marine, we're slowly building up our characters, our weapons, all this different stuff. Because say a level 20 character in Space Marine has fundamentally more powers than one that's level 10. He has usually better. He'll have maybe a purple class bolter and a purple class chainsword or something like that, and you literally just do raw more damage. And one high level person can almost carry a team of lower level people with them, and you can be okay. We see that a little bit in Helldivers as well, but at the same time, I've found, especially just progressing level wise, sure, higher level people, they have cooler stratagems. They can call in special stuff that I don't have yet, and their cooldowns are faster because they've upgraded their super destroyers. At the same time, it just doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, I have 4 grenades, and 4 grenades can take out a lot of things.
That's very true. You could plug all the bug holes while they're out, you know, bombing all sorts of stuff, you know.
And that's another thing is Space Marine is very much, okay, we're going through the level, we follow the path and we do the things. Helldivers is like, all right, we landed. The main objective is over there. We're not going to do it for 10 minutes. We're going to go do other things.
Yeah. Dude, you've already got it all figured out like a week. You're like, you already know all the bells and whistles and how the game works.
Yeah. So no, I 100% respect it getting best multiplayer. I will say that unfortunately Aaron has not, but I've had a chance to fight the Illuminate.
Yeah, damn it. They keep getting killed by the players, and there's there's no battles left to fight, you know?
So what I gotta say, at time of speaking, I have not done a automaton mission. I'm actually saving that for when we play together because I want to experience the bugs for the first time on stream. But what I've found with the Illuminated is that I think the Illuminated are kind of the perfect middle ground where each faction can be quite difficult, but I think it's a lot of people are kind of saying that like the automatons can be the hardest version of it because of just all the arsenal that they can carry, and the bugs can be a little bit easier because they generally have certain aspects that just make them a little easier to deal with, because if you can keep them at range, they're not as effective because they're much more up close fighters than they are long range spiders. The Illuminates seem to be that perfect middle where the composition of their units, where you've got these hordes of voteless zombies that they're annoying in numbers, but individually they're not that bad.
Yeah.
You've got the guys with the big staff and shield that can be a bit of a problem, but the second that you have 2 people, they're basically not that hard to deal with, because you can just, one guy takes the aggro with the shield coming towards you, and then you just step around the shield and fire at it. In fact, the way the shield works, their legs are exposed at all times.
Oh, yeah, because they're really tall, yeah.
Yeah, you just shoot them in the legs, they drop their shield a bit, and then you just go for the head.
Oh, nice. Okay.
The walkers are a pain in the ass because their actual weak points, and there's quite a few videos and stuff about those, is that their actual weak points are the joints where their legs connect to their core body, and right around their sort of face point in the center there where the laser comes out. You can hit those and deal real damage to it. Everything else more or less ricochets off.
Armor.
The trouble with that is that, sure, in concept that makes sense of where you're supposed to hit them, but then they hit you with the laser beam that just cuts you in half.
Yeah, so insta-death.
It goes through buildings. There's nothing you can do to stop them if they're on top of you.
No way.
But if you have two people, one person plays chicken and runs and gets the walker's attention, and then the other guy goes, "Orbital strike, go!" So yeah, the vehicle is pretty fun to play with. The Jeep. They did do one interesting thing balancing wise, because it has the machine gun turret on the back, but the machine gun turret has limited ammunition. It's not a Warthog where it has infinite ammo. So it is not a thing of you can just hold on to the Jeep the whole game and just burn through, like just do donuts and just shoot everybody down. Eventually you will run out of rounds in the turret. So it's just like, all right, well, fuck, I guess abandon the car, because the car's useful, but the car can't shoot anymore. It's much like, I haven't played a ton with the mechs. I've basically, I had one mission where I got to jump in somebody's mech, and play around with, and it's just like, once the mechs run out of bullets, they can't
It's useless.
do much.
It's just a extra armor for a moment.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
Even having it out is like, it's useful, but when you're in the mech, you can't call down stratagems, so you can't reinforce your team, you can't
revives,
call down airstrikes. Exactly. So if you're in the mech and you're plodding along and you're okay, but everybody else on the team is dead, you have to hop out of the mech and throw down a beacon. But hopping out of the mech and doing so might get you killed.
Exactly.
So yeah, and I have a feeling that I think the way they might treat the Illimited, and I think is almost a good idea, is have them where the bugs and the bots are pretty much constant and slowly creeping their way closer and closer to Super Earth, whereas I feel like the Illimited can basically pop up in different parts of the galactic map and just be like, oh, they're causing problems over here, go deal with them.
That'd be interesting.
Also, the Illimited have Tesla towers. They just have them beside their ships. The amount of times I have been like, all right, I'm going to take out this ship and help the crew, and zap. Fuck.
Damn. But this is the first time that they've introduced like cities as a biome, so that's honestly pretty exciting for the game.
And the cities are pretty cool. There's some, so one of the other things is that the Illimited have two additional effects that they can have on the map. One is an ion storm, which it fucks with your stratagems and it changes the inputs. So you'll pop open your thing to be like, okay, I'm going to call in like a backpack item or something. And the normal input's like a series of 6 that you've seen multiple times. But as you're inputting it, the symbols start to change and move.
No way.
Like, oh fuck. And the amount of times I've misinput because of that. is a pain in the ass. And then
That's an awesome
there are
mechanic, though. Actually,
there are some maps where they have a big tower. The tower is a jamming field. You cannot call in stratagems while you are inside the tower, so you have to destroy the tower. It's like, oh fuck, we
That's
need
a
to
good one,
reinforce.
too.
I have to either run away and reinforce, or I have to blow this thing up.
Creates some tense moments, and I think that's what was so enjoyable, especially when you first get into the game. You're inputting all those commands, and you're panicking while you're doing that stuff. It's like one button press, and you don't get that airstrike in, or you don't reinforce your team in time. So I actually really love the input stuff, and I saw a lot of people cheating by using their stream decks to. But now this
like
goes
that.
around that, right? Like you won't just be able to hit a shortcut and have it do all the little D-pad moves for you.
Yep.
That's so cool. I like the randomization. That's going to create some really tense moments.
Mm-hmm. No, it's been a good time. So yeah, in like, I was a bit disappointed that Space Marine won nothing at the Game Awards, but at the same time, like, all the categories that it lost for, we'll eventually get to the best action category here. All the categories that it was nominated for that it didn't get something in, I can't really be mad what it lost to.
Yeah, it's kind of how I felt.
Yeah,
but I did feel bad that they didn't get something.
The game still performed really well.
It's really, yeah. And I'm hoping maybe some of these other award shows it'll win something. You know, maybe it'll get a little more legs there.
At BAFTAs, it got like 5 awards.
Sheesh. All right, we
like they did fine.
Have to talk BAFTAs. All right.
Yeah.
Should we go to the next?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did best multiplayer there. All right. Best sports. Nah.
Yeah. I'd say we keep going. Sim and strategy. Frostpunk 2 won.
Not surprising,
which I
though.
think is what I voted for as well, because like, hey, first Frostpunk was good, and I've heard that the sequel is very much take what we had and keep going with it. So happy to see that.
Yeah. Or if what works.
Yeah.
Oh, this one confused me. This next one.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. And we also start to see the absolute sweep that was Astrobot.
Yeah, for real. Once they started winning more than one, I was like, oh, shit. I think I know how this is going to end.
It's done. So, yeah, what's interesting, the other thing that I have to say about it winning Best Family Game is that inherently, I believe that family games should have multiplayer to them, and Astrobot doesn't.
Yeah.
It's a one-player game.
Yeah, I think Mario Party was the only one that had multiplayer, and that's why my vote kind of went that way. And Mario Party's like a board game. Like, that's what, before we had really good video games, like, Monopoly was it, man. Like, Clue was it.
Yeah.
You gather around the table and play that. And so this is like the modern day version of, you know, putting a board game on the kitchen table.
So, yeah. They can keep going here. Best fighting, no surprise there. Like, Tekken 8 took that. Like,
absolutely.
I've heard Tekken 8 is just great, and it's very cool to see. Yeah, happy to see that.
See what else we best RPG.
RPG. Yeah, Metaphor got their award there. And this is also where we got to see like Shadow of the Erdtree get nothing.
Yeah. I was like, no, if they made room for them in the show, like they made a special
They must have had
exception
something
DLC, they had to give them something,
Nope.
but nope.
Yeah. Which like furthers the case of like either A, it should have not been nominated for A, I don't think it should have been nominated for Game of the Year because it's not a full game.
Yeah.
And two, I think we need next year a DLC or expansion category that stuff like Shadow of the Erdtree and other stuff can be put into.
I think that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of games that are going that route. And there are some DLCs that we, really remember year after year. So that would have been a good chance to introduce it that way, for sure.
Let's see here. What do we have after RPG here?
Ooh, action adventure.
Yeah.
Now, there was a part of me that thought they were going to give it to Star Wars.
Would've been
as the drum roll was going, I was like, wait a minute. But then I was like, the sweep. Here it is. Yeah. Oh my God.
Continue the sweep.
Yeah. I think I did Silent Hill. I don't remember. Maybe. I think that was my
Yes,
pick.
I think, and especially because the sentence for is action adventure game combining combat, traversal, and puzzle solving.
And I really thought they did
Silent
great
Hill
things.
2 remake does is puzzle solving.
And also Prince of Persia, now that I've actually played it, I don't think I had played it before the awards show, but yeah, it's actually pretty good. The platforming, the Metroidvania, it's got puzzles, it's got, frustrating platforming, wall kicking, dodging spikes and traps, all the things you would expect. Yeah, so that's the sweep for Astrobot. Best action game. And this one hurts, man, because I had to pick between like 4 or 5 children here.
Exactly.
Which one's my favorite, dude?
Here's another one where I'm like, it's sad that Space Marine 2 didn't win anything, but it lost to Wukong. Like, I can't be mad.
Yeah. And I was worried Wukong wasn't going to get any recognition.
Wasn't going to get anything, yeah.
So I'm glad they at least got something, because they did. And I'm kind of upset that they kind of glossed over it. Like Best Action Game, it was one of those like sidebar awards where it's just off on the side and like no one gets to come up and give a speech or anything. It's just and same for Helldivers. It would have been really nice to see like those devs come up on stage and talk about what the past year has been like, and how they've overcome all these struggles and stuff. Would have been really cool. And even from these folks, to have probably a Chinese interpreter on hand.
Yeah.
And just be able to talk about what it's like to be this is your first game, you're a brand new indie developer, and you practically Grand Slam game of the. I mean, he's Game of the Year from Player's Choice. So,
yep,
which is interesting.
No, okay, can't complain there.
Yeah, best VR.
Batman.
I'm not surprised, but also all those games looked really good. Like each one in its category.
I really need to play default version of Hellsinger. I played the demo a whole lot because I just really enjoyed it. I have the full game on Steam. I just haven't installed and played it yet.
Just gotta do it.
Because if that turns out to be good, like that would be a game that I could easily see getting getting like a Quest 2 or 3 to play Metal Hellsinger and other games like that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Solid.
All right. Let's go to the next category.
Someone else had a sweep here, didn't they?
All of Aaron's phone time.
Yeah, I really did, dude. I bought it on Steam, the Switch, and my Android phone. And I'm literally like trying to get my family in on it. I'm like telling them what the rules are and stuff. And Yeah, I mean it really is that good. And by the way, did you hear when they played like the theme songs of all the games nominated for Game of the Year? When they played the Balatro theme, they had a dude on the keytar just like slamming.
Just slamming.
Really freaking good, dude.
And I saw that, I think it was midway through the awards, they showed off, like, here's all the partner cards that we have with all these different games. Like, we've got the Shovel Knight cards, we've got the Warframe cards, and all these different stuff. And I follow the creative director for Warframe on Twitter, and she's like, I fucking love Balatro so much.
That's so cool. Yeah, and the fact that it's made by just one dude.
Just one dude.
And apparently the game got rated M recently.
Yes. I saw.
Isn't that insane?
What about that?
Quite a controversy there.
He had such a nice, like, snake backwards, like, oh, maybe I should add loot boxes and actual
actual gambling,
and like EA does, and get it down to a 13+ rating. And it's like, oh, that's a hot knife right there, buddy.
Yeah, dude. It sounds like the ratings board doesn't really understand what kind of game it is, or maybe they didn't play it.
Just see, oh, it's about poker.
Yeah, and then they see the chips, and they're like,
blah, blah,
oh, it's
blah.
Gambling, it's wrong, it's immoral. I'm like, no, the chips is like a high score. You have to beat the high score to win.
Yeah. It's more like solitaire.
Yeah. And that's actually how I've been able to like pitch it to other people, because most people are like, I don't want to have to bluff. I don't want to deal with the stress that comes with poker. I don't want to have to like do multiplayer here. It's like, no, you're just playing against yourself. Like, you're trying to beat the high score and build your deck and keep playing as long as possible. I'm trying to get people into roguelikes here,
Yeah, and then going on from that, we get like Balatro's little sweep of the independent market.
That's crazy. Absolutely insane. I also, like, my second place, I was like, okay, Astro's sweeping, but so is Balatro, and I'm gonna be more pissed if Balatro win. Like, if a 2D little card game made by one dude beats everybody, just oh god,
takes
dude.
Down all these different things. I
mean, you kind of love it to upset the system, but at the same time, it's like my god, like, some people worked really hard as well. Big studios to make like these impressive 3D immersive games. I don't know. It's no nice way to say it, but holy crap. So best debut indie game. Definitely up there, man. That's a strong one for your first game.
Oh, yeah.
And especially since he thought he wasn't going to do well. He thought, like, oh, this will probably just, 10 or 12 people pick it up,
Yep.
Jeez. Oh, and best independent game.
And best independent game as well. Yep.
My god. Best community support.
After that. Yeah, that was Baldur's Gate. And I think Baldur's Gate is kind of in its scenario now where Larian is more or less done updates and patch-wise. They might be working on one or two more things, but I believe it was in this year that they released what was basically a dev kit for the game, where it's just like, here, you want to make mods for Baldur's Gate 3, here's how you can integrate them better. It's the same thing that CD Projekt Red did it for their games as well. It's like, here's the tool that allows you to integrate mods into Witcher and Cyberpunk and just make it easier. Just so that like all the mod people who want to do it, they can just sit there and it's not a nightmare of coding to make it to interlock with each other. It's just like, okay, you put it in the thing and it goes.
Oh, that's definitely that's a good move, man. Yeah. Best ongoing.
Helldivers 2, which I now fully understand and believe, especially post Omens of Tyranny update and all that. It's just like, yep, we're in a good state. And in fact, post like update to the Killzone thing, where it's like, shit, people are annoyed about how much this costs. Fuck it, second round is all yours. Here.
Yeah, I mean, they really listen.
Body armor. Here's a free helmet. Here's a free sniper rifle.
It's insane, but yeah, you can't deny that they have really good ongoing support if they're listening to the community and making the changes that need to be made. You know, and sometimes those changes aren't popular. You know, sometimes they accidentally debuff a bunch of guns, but you know.
Yeah.
It's just like every other game. You just got to wait for them to work out the kinks and buff everything back up.
And the biggest thing overall is evolving the player experience. The thing that should be the second sentence to this thing is being able to listen to your players and adapt the game based upon what people are saying. Because that's the other thing that I found Arrowhead has been very good at, is like being very honest about like, hey, we understand that you might be upset about this or that. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what is possible within our command and our control. Because there are many times where, and we've seen this with the Space Marine 2 devs as well, where they just have to be honest about what is and isn't possible. Because everybody wants the dream version of the game they are playing. But sometimes the dream version of what they are playing is literally impossible with time, money, and staffing capacity.
Exactly. People are like, I want the battle axe. I want the Necron coming out next year.
Exactly,
I want, you know, they're just like naming out all their favorite guns and peripherals that they want. And it's just like, dude, like if you want it made right, you know,
you want it good?
Yeah. We have to be real.
It's going to be a while. So yeah, no, fully understanding best ongoing there.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Games for Impact.
Yeah. I was fully expecting Neva to get something, because it's just like, oh, that's the beautiful art game of this year.
Yes.
There's one every single year. That's the one this year.
Yeah, and they got it. I hadn't really played anything else.
Yeah.
Innovation and accessibility.
And Lost Crown got it.
I think I'd called that when I kind of pulled up some of the accessibility that when we talked
about how like you can very much tailor Lost Crown down to, if you were very new to games in general, you could play it.
Yeah. Because I mean, some of the traversal, some of the platforming, it's tough for me, and I grew up with this shit, and it is hard. And you know, some of the combat, there's parries that, you know, much like Metroid Dread, if you parry an enemy a specific moment, it can be an insta kill, or it can be a moment where you can regenerate your health or something like that. So there's definitely a higher skill gap for professional players. And so the ability to like tailor accessibility options and difficulty options and stuff like that down to the T makes it very accessible to people of all ages and, you know, disabilities and whatnot as well.
Yeah, so that's pretty awesome. And I think that I don't need it for every game, but I think many games should have those levels of accessibility added to their setup.
Absolutely, and sometimes it's just basic stuff like subtitles or colorblind options. Like once you go back and see what kind of games didn't have that, like 5-10 years ago, it's rough, dude.
Or The game that I always love to play, especially if you're streaming or making a video on a game that has a lot of cutscenes and story, is the game of where is the toggle for subtitles in? Is it in display? Is it in audio? Is it in game?
Oh my God.
Because every game does it differently.
Yep. And sometimes it's an accessibility.
Consistently, it's in display because it's part of the screen.
Yeah, it is.
But in the past, it's just like, I don't know.
Sometimes it's under audio, yeah, because they're like, where are people gonna look for it?
Thank you, Halo.
Oh my God, dude.
Or older Halo doesn't have audio options.
Yeah.
You can't adjust the sound levels.
No, get your own speakers. They're like, you got a volume knob on your damn speaker, Andrew.
I guess like we're back. Let's say like if we're talking about CE, it's just like, does it work on a mono television? Okay, ship it.
Right. Feels like the Stone Age compared to where we are now.
Yeah.
Best performance.
I think Jay said this where it's just like,
it's her.
Won for Senua 1. No shit, she's gonna win for Senua 2.
I think he was right, man. I think he was right. And it makes sense. She really puts her whole body and soul into this role.
She is the character. Like, Mana is Senua. Like, she is that character. Yeah. I think my vote, I know, was for Luke.
Same.
It was just like, damn, if you're gonna do James, one of like the most well-known characters, especially in terms of voice acting, that is a tough set of shoes to fill, and you did a good job.
You did really good. I mean, the base goal is don't fuck it up, but he also did amazing with it.
And did some cool additions and changes.
But yeah, pretty star-studded group this time. A lot of really talented people. Tough competition there. Best audio design. That's probably not so surprising either, because if you played the first one, I mean, you know what the audio is like.
what their mixing is like, and how Senua's a game series at this point that is a game that you play with either a set of really good headphones or a surround sound setup to your television.
Absolutely.
It's not a game where you just play it off the television speakers. Just
it's not the same, dude.
Proper audio experience so that you can properly hear what's going on here.
So well deserved on their part, yeah.
What's up next from audio design here?
Best score in music, huh?
Not terribly surprising on that one either, because like, it's a Final Fantasy game. It's a Final Fantasy 7 game.
One of the most famous soundtracks in all of gaming, you know, just
one of the most famous series for music in general.
Yeah.
It's just Final Fantasy games. Like, if you look at this group of 5, which one of these has a live concert where they play like 3 hours of music from the series?
Yeah, that would be them. Yeah. But up next to some tough competition, because I mean, Silent Hill 2 has a really good soundtrack. Stellar Blade has the K-pop going in the background, so.
And like Metaphor is a Atlas game, so that means that the usual composer for all the Persona games is just like, all right, what are we gonna make this time? And it's always like, the score is usually always really good, and then there's a couple tracks in there where it's like, yeah, I can just have this on repeat all the time.
Dang. All right.
So no surprises there.
Best art direction.
Art direction, Metaphor. Yeah, like can't think of a again, this is a category where I can understand why Shadow of the Erdtree was nominated, but I also like, compared to a literal art game in Neva and a Atlas game and Wukong, it's just like, yeah, the strong point about Erdtree was like it had good art design, but it was not the focal point.
Exactly.
The focal point was the adventure and the bosses and what we were doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Can't be surprised there.
And for best narrative here,
Metaphor again. So it feels like we've kind of had, like, Astrobot got its multiple, Balatro got its triple, and Metaphor is now on, like, 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
And I've actually heard that the way that this game handles, like, politics and social issues is actually, like, really good. And I'm actually kind of interested at that point, once people started telling me that, that they handle it in a way that all these games that get accused of, like, being woke or something for introducing any sort of politics or any sort of identity stuff to games, you know, usually get dogged on really bad. But apparently this one does that type of stuff in a really good way. So I don't know. I might have to check it out. Yeah, that makes you a little more curious about the narrative. Next one.
Yes.
Best game direction.
Once again, adding to Astrobot's set of crowns in their jewels in their crown. Again, this was actually, when you really look at it, game direction is probably one of the hardest categories because all of these are good.
Yeah.
All of these succeed about creating something that is interesting in terms of direction and design.
Yeah, it's absolutely true.
Yeah, so can't complain there.
And then Game of the Year.
Game of the Year. Astrobot.
Yeah, and after hearing that speech from Larian, I was like, it's going to be Wukong. I was like, he's telling me it's Wukong. And then they fucking say Astrobot. And I was like, shit!
Yeah. So,
but it made sense.
Like,
the lead up to it made sense in the way that they were sweeping all the awards.
Yeah. And again, it furthers the case of Shadow of the Erdtree should have not been here.
Yeah.
Because it didn't win Game of the Year. It didn't win any awards.
Nothing.
So it's like, why was it here? Make a new category that is for expansions and let it just completely crush everything else in that category.
Yeah, you could have had Space Marine or Helldivers up here, you know?
Exactly. I feel like
might have robbed a spot.
Should have taken Shadow of the Erdtree spot here.
And that's bold coming from you. You were Mr. Space Marine last week.
I was Mr. Space Marine, but like I'm full in. I'm full of my life for Super.
Oh my god, dude. The turnaround on you is crazy, man. That's all it took was playing the damn game. We've been telling you about it for months. And we're like, yeah, don't play now, though. It's kind of shitty.
Yeah,
but like,
that's the biggest thing was like, I was always interested in in Helldivers, and consistently I would see it. Oh, it's 20% off. It's 30% off. Whatever. And I hover over it, and then I click on that page.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, I would get to it, and I would see mixed, and I just instantly, okay, it's in a bad state right now. People are not happy. Next time. And every single time I came back to it and thought about it, it's just like, it's not good, right? There are things going on right now that are not, people are not happy. But we are back.
I think we lucked out. Yeah, they They went through the hell buffers stage, and then now they literally dropped that new content the night of the Game Awards, and I mean that's like a hey, we're here moment. Like, you know, we're actually back, and here's the new race that we've been speculating about for months. You know.
Yeah. Here's the third faction that was in game 1 that wasn't in this game up until now.
Yeah.
Now, all this said about Shadow of the Erdtree winning nothing and not sure why it's here.
Yeah.
There was a reason why it's here, and it's to signal the fact that they have another game.
Ah, dude.
What the fuck? I was very much like, what are we doing here? This is really weird. Because, like, from the first couple videos, you could tell that this is, like, A, a FromSoftware game, and B,
it's
like,
Elden Ring.
It's Elden Ring.
Like,
Just
you can almost recognize the
works.
structures, yeah.
So it was just like, and I think I watched the trailer for this. When did I watch this? Did I watch this when I got home or something? Because of the time difference between America and Japan, I was watching this basically going home from work when all the announcements that had happened. I pulled out my phone and I just started messaging Aaron. It's like, hey, what happened? Oh, what the fuck?
I was like, Andrew, it's Elden Ring. He said no more DLC, but he didn't say anything about another fucking game. He's such a liar in just the best way.
He's the best liar. Oh my god. So yeah, this is going to be, so I was thinking about this today while I was out just doing stuff. I have a feeling that Nightreign is going to be very much, it's going to feel like a Smash Ultimate, where it's like, take everything from all of our other games and just mush it together in one new thing. Pause right there. I want to talk about that spider.
Okay.
Because this is possibly one of the most innocuous things ever.
Wait, the little spider?
The little spider.
That little
because
thing? Okay.
I want to bring up a thing.
Yep.
So there's a couple things about that spider in particular. So number one, there's the obvious. Hey, it's another swamp. No shit.
Yeah, I see that.
This man can't be stopped.
No, he can't. Damn.
He has a problem.
He's gonna swamp us in an action adventure game.
He's got
not even a Souls-like. You're gonna.
Number two. That's not just a Souls spider. That is a Dark Souls 2 spider.
Oh, snap.
The way that it animates and moves, and especially those long front legs, that is a Dark Souls 2 spider.
Watch it crawl here.
There is...
Oh, my God. The way he's like tripping or something.
There have also been pictures released that were not in the trailer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yikes.
I just sent you one.
Okay, let me open that.
That's a big spider, right?
That's a big one. Yeah.
That's a big spider with a couple of little spiders around it. That's not just any big spider. That is very much a boss from Dark Souls 2.
So, I mean, is it possible that we're tying all the universes together, or is this a cute little haha cameo, or what could that mean, you think?
I think that's literally what this game is.
Yeah.
I think this is the convergence of all the universes and storylines into one thing together. They will probably give things different names.
Yeah.
Like this boss in Dark Souls 2 is called the Duke's Dear Freya, and it has very much a lore and story around why it is called that and what it is. In Nightreign, it will have a different name.
Yeah.
100%. But this game is let's take all the cool shit from our prior games and just mash it together. Because if we go back to the trailer,
Mm-hmm.
The thing that happens after the spider walking, where you see the guy with the big pile bunker arm, that he hits the thing they're fighting.
Yeah.
A second here.
And it's like a fire bolt arrow or something?
Yeah. See, he impacts with the... So, the thing he has on his arm is very much like the Elden Ring style of what is known as the stake driver in Bloodborne. The thing they are fighting is the centipede demon from Dark Souls 1.
Ah, okay.
So, very much this is take all the cool shit from our prior games and put it into one game.
Also, it looks like we have like a glowing tree over there, top right.
I think so too, and we're seeing the trail effects off of one of our other characters. Because the other thing that's different about this game is that where in prior Souls games you would create your character and design a build and go like that, this game isn't that. This is, you have, I think, X amount number of characters. Each of them does a thing. So you have the knight character in the blue and silver here. You have Birdman who can fly.
Freaking Birdman.
You have man in heavy armor that does heavy armored man things. You have woman with white hair and black clothes and assassin style movement. So it's taking away the, oh, I'm creating this build for my character, and more of, I want to play, I'm going to play. I bet they each have different names. So, like...
Yeah, like a class or something? Like you're picking?
Exactly.
Or a hero, perhaps, even.
Yeah. Maybe we have, like, the winged vanguard and the stalwart bull, and I imagine each of them will have different names, and when we all play together, it'll be like, okay, and I bet, if anything, it will be the same thing as other games where you can't have two hawkmen.
Yeah, and that's fair.
You only have one hawk. So everybody's like, okay, I'm going to play hawk. Do you want to play mage? And say, like, Jay will play tank. And, like, we compose our team around what we each like to play.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think they also mentioned that there's going to be, like, synergy between the ones that you pick. So it's like, you wouldn't want to all play as Birdman, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If there's going to be some sort of buff that is applied when this trio of players is playing together. Trying to see if I can pull up that little image I captured. Oh my god, it's opening Photoshop. That's crazy. Right here. Yeah, so it says, as night falls, we rise. Nightreign is a standalone adventure within the Elden Ring universe, crafted to bring a new gaming experience. Rise together, join forces with other players to take on the creeping night and the dangers within, featuring 3-player co-op. Become a hero. Take command of uniquely skilled heroes.
Yes.
Each possessing their own abilities and distinct flair. While individually powerful, their skills grow even more formidable when united as a team. Take on the night. Overcome a relentless environmental threat that sweeps through a land that changes between each game session, and defeat the magnificent boss of that night.
Yeah. And especially in a post-Marvel Rivals universe, where Marvel Rivals has shown, hey, what's it like to have a team game where literally having two characters that can share powers and back with each other. Say, having a Hulk and Wolverine combo where Hulk can pick up Wolverine, throw him like a ball. What does that work like in a Elden Ring game where, like, can Hawkman literally pick up the big heavy armored bull goat guy and just yeet him, just throw him at a boss?
Yeah, That would be pretty cool. I'd like to see how all this is going to work together.
Yeah.
And since it's a little more action-based, they're kind of free to do things like that. In a way, the Souls game, it would be weird to work that in, I guess.
Yeah.
Mechanic-wise.
I have a feeling that this is going to be... there's not as much of the Elden Ring thing of let's go wander around and explore thing. It's just like, okay, we know what we need to do. We need to go over there. Mm-hmm. We can probably explore and go find other things, but we have a very clear objective in this level in mind. It's go there, do that.
Also like that whip weapon that they keep showing. It's kind of like a grapple hook or something.
Yes. Well, and again, very much, hey, all the stuff that we didn't put in Elden Ring from Sekiro, let's put it in this version of Elden Ring.
It really looks like that's what they're doing, yeah. God, it looks so good.
And we're seeing a lot of returning stuff with the soldiers of Godric and the warriors of Heroes of Zamor. Okay, lady in white with the metal crown on her face. That is literally a firekeeper from Dark Souls 3.
Oh my god.
Is a fucking firekeeper from Dark Souls 3. I think it's even the same voice as the Dark Souls 3 firekeeper.
They're not playing anymore.
They're not playing around.
That is insane. He's just like, what?
Yep.
I guess that's how you revive your buddy. Yeah, and then we have this like bird that we summon to fly around.
Yep. Get your glider birds. So, and that's what that tree is that you noticed. That I bet the bird summons from the tree. Okay.
That would make sense.
Let's talk about literally just a boss from Dark Souls.
Okay. Yeah.
Holy shit.
I just wanted to comment on the wall kick from Sekiro actually being in here as well.
That's so cool.
That's
okay.
Not something I expected, but once you kind of see it's an action game.
And I wonder if that's locked to certain classes can do that.
Very well
Say
could be.
Like Knight can do that and some other ones can. So yeah, let's talk about the man in the mist here on the dragon.
Oh shit. I didn't even realize who it was. Oh shit! I didn't even see. Now you've opened it up.
King.
Yeah,
that's just Storm King.
Yeah, it is. Fuck. So he's just gonna be roaming.
He will be a boss that we can encounter or something like that. It's just Storm King, and the fact that he even does like the ride on his neck and throw lightning bolts at us.
I never thought I'd have to face this guy again. You know, I thought when I beat him, it was
so many people like, "Are you fucking serious? I killed you. You can't be alive."
I wasn't even really paying attention. I've seen this guy before, but I was just like, it's just somebody on a dragon. Like I didn't really look too deep into it. But now that you've said like every boss has been like a Dark Souls boss.
Yep.
Feel kind of dumb.
This is the Smash Ultimate game where it's just like, hey, let's pull in everything. It's just a fucking Storm King.
And look at that.
Makes me wonder about like, hey, if we kill him, does he get off the dragon and do the full phase 2 of Storm King where he becomes Nameless King and we have to fight on the ground?
I wouldn't be surprised because that would be the ultimate way to just fuck us all up, man. Because I have PTSD from that. That was the real hard part of the fight.
Yeah, it's the phase, like, the dragon part's not that bad once you learn, like, where to stand and all that. It's getting to phase 2 and surviving.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I'd be disappointed if they didn't include that, yeah. My god. And we're also getting a glimpse at like the elf type of guy over here on the left with the bow and arrow, like kind of your ranger, which, you know, as we kind of said, like, the Souls games aren't really very good for, like, archery. Like, it's not like Zelda or Horizon where it's, it's very innately part of the combat,
You very much have to build, like, a bow character in spite of what's going on.
And the controls for doing that are not super great. For, like, aiming.
No, they're not.
You're not going to be, jumping and shooting arrows or doing backflips or sliding and shooting arrows. Like,
one of the most popular mods for Dark Souls 1 literally alters the camera of the bow so that it feels more like a third-person shooter.
Yeah, that would be the way to do it. Because, that weird, like, first person just showing the crosshairs.
No,
it's so old school and it sucks. Because you can't see what's going on around you, and that can be rough.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see that. That's another class that might be interesting to play, because it's not quite as easy to do a build like that in Elden Ring. And then this next one, we're seeing, like, some parry moves happening here.
So I'm guessing that is what I will basically call the samurai character. Where they have this enhanced katana and better parry stances against fighting one of the Omen enemies here. I also want to say that environment that they're fighting the Omen in looks a lot like Mogwin Palace.
Yep. I can see that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, and we also have the sentence of bent on sacking the lands of gold, which that's technically a different, because Elden Ring's area is the lands between. The lands of gold is a different thing.
Well, that makes a lot of sense then. That this is introducing, like, a new area, new threats, and, they're not calling it Elden Ring 2. It's not like a sequel or anything. It's not another
It's a
expansion.
Different game.
Just a different game. What about this next guy?
What do we got here?
This, I don't even know what to call it. A dragon? Is it a dragon?
So... If I had to take a guess at something, we've never seen a dragon that looks like that, with the sideways mouth like that can grab a character. However, there is also the gaping dragon from Dark Souls 1 that is just a giant mouth on a dragon body that does eat you. So I think we're seeing not only just straight, like, hey, here's this thing from this game thrown into this one. We're also seeing, hey, let's take Gaping Dragon and rework it and change it. Where he's got, like, these purplish blue light effect trails that makes me wonder about, hey, does he have gravity magic powers like Radon does?
Possibly, yeah. And then you got the massive freaking bow.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Anything on this guy? I don't even know who's Goatman here.
I got nothing on Goatman.
I was like, he looks like he's from a different franchise altogether.
So, here's what I will say about Goatman. Number one, he's probably going to be a spellcasting type boss or enemy.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be a pain in the ass to fight.
Yep, looks like it.
Number two, while he has not appeared in a previous Souls game to my memory or knowledge, he looks a lot like a particular creature from Berserk. And if there's anything that Miyazaki loves more than swamps, it's Berserk.
It's Berserk and swamps.
Berserk and swamps. So yeah, Go-Man's gonna be interesting. I really like his design with all the eyes.
Yeah, that does look freaking terrifying. Wow. And then we got
dogs.
dogs. And it's not unusual to have giant dogs with swords, but this is
Nope,
3 dogs.
This is 3 dogs that are 1 dog, but then can also be 3 dogs.
Yeah, this is your Cerberus with a chain whip sword who turns into... And this reminded me of Radahn's Battlefield.
It looks a lot like Radahn's Battlefield.
Yeah, I was like,
But it's weird where it looks not only like Radahn's Battlefield, but it also looks like the battlefield that you fight the last boss of the Ringed City DLC for Dark Souls 3.
Ooh, okay.
It looks a lot like that battlefield too.
Huh.
And it also makes sense that, hey, you have 3 player characters, so the Cerberus boss divides into 3 separate bosses that each person has to take on one at a time.
That makes sense.
You can't just have 3 people, oh, we're going to gang up on the boss. So like, no.
Not when they split up.
You 3 of them. Everybody gets 1.
Yeah, I can't have 2 dogs teaming up on me. And then we have this this strange door that everyone approaches.
Which looks... Hang on, let me pull up the picture here.
Yeah.
Dark Souls 2 ending door. Come on, give me a good picture here. That door looks a lot like the door that is literally the ending of Dark Souls 2. The end of the game is proceeding through a door that looks a lot like that door. And it is interesting that that door, as we see our characters open it, rushes out with pure, like, dark energy, which is kind of what our game title is pointing towards is that is the overall force that will overtake you, is the darkness of the night. And looking at the sky in the background of that door, I wonder if this game takes place in the Lord of Ronnie's ending. If this game is basically post Elden Ring in Ronnie's ending, that the Lord of Night happened, and we are now just dealing with that and the repercussions of what it means to be in a world of perpetual night.
Well, it does say the life of the Night Lord here at the bottom of the screen as they open that door. So, I mean, yeah, there could be a lot into that.
Yeah.
And a very frosty theme overall to the DLC. Like, we're seeing all that white land there, and even at the beginning, like, you're kind of seeing this, like, frosty type stuff overtake the land, and
yeah, that burns away the lands with this blue fire.
And that almost seems to justify the map changing every time you play. Maybe, you know, with roguelike elements, it's like, okay, well, if you lose, it burns away the map, and now you have a new map that you come into, and that's why it doesn't look like the Elden Ring map that we're familiar with.
Yeah.
Is that it's going to be a little different. And it's a different universe, per se, might be the term. Or like a split off from the main line.
I think it might be, yeah, it's a spin-off, like, almost sub-universe timeline. Basically a what-if... I think this is the what-if scenario game of what if, like, this happened, or what if all the things combined together happened.
Which is great.
Yeah. No, it's... I will say, I'm a bit miffed that your options are single player or 3 player. There's no 2 player. I think that is a not a great decision, and hopefully something that I feel like it would be less work to add a 2-player version than it would to not be have it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't seem that hard to just, or like when we're gearing up and toggling together, that we just say, hey, let's put 2 slots here.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know, like, there are many times where just having one other person to play with, like 2-player co-op, is all that we have, like just based upon people's schedules and time availability and stuff like that. At the same time, I also like, hey, why is it only 3? Why is it not 4?
Yeah, what's the deal with 3?
3 becomes the new number now. And while 3 is fun, 3 also sucks when you have like
4 friends.
A group of 4 people.
No.
Like, yeah. And I can understand that, like, they're not doing 4 because of, once again, this Space Marine scenario of balancing, where adding an additional person just made the game too easy.
Yeah, and I could see that.
Yeah. So, no, very, very excited for Nightreign. I think it will be like, I have a feeling that Nightreign will be kind of one of those things where it won't be as much of a time commitment as Elden Ring is.
Mm-hmm.
Where I don't see it being, because Elden Ring, you had this huge map to explore, all these items and characters to find along the way. This very much feels like, hey, we're gonna run a mission.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, all right, we did the mission, all right, turn the game off. It's going to feel like the Chalice dungeons were in Bloodborne, where they were just like, let's go on a fun little adventure. It's not the whole game, it's just this little piece. Yeah, no, very, very interested to see what it's like. Interested to see what more stuff they tell us about it. Yeah, no, like, it was a very, very big surprise.
I'm incredibly shocked. Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. That was only slightly undercut by the news of, like, Sony wants to buy Kadokawa. It's like, fuck.
Perfect
no,
transition.
please.
Yeah, God.
Boy.
The stuff of nightmares at this point here.
Yeah, the fears about, like, oh, exclusive on only Sony consoles, or like all these different things. But so far, it looks like all that's going on is they've bought 10% of Kadokawa, which Kadokawa actually owns a lot of different things. What I found interesting is that 10% of Kadokawa is still worth $320 million.
Sheesh.
For 10%. So, like, factored out, a full 100% stake would, like, be around 3.2, maybe 4 billion.
Yeah, they must have really wanted in just a tiny piece of the pie.
To buy 10% for 320 mil is a lot. So maybe they're just like, hey, we can obviously see that this game is going, that this studio knows what they're doing, and they just publish really good stuff. We want a piece of that that market share, and we want to get some money out of that, which might be a good strategy, because, like, not every Sony published release has been a slam dunk. Like, for every Astrobot that comes out, does really well, and wins a whole bunch of awards, they also have Concords, where it's just like, whoops.
Yeah.
There goes the money.
Oof.
Yeah, and stuff like the uncertainty of where Bungie's going, and they spent a whole lot of money on acquiring Bungie. So I have a feeling that maybe that 10% stake was, hopefully it's just a, hey, we want a piece of the pie and we want some of like the money that we've been seeing being made off these FromSoftware games, and less of the step in the door where they can then go after buying it.
Yeah, that was my only concern, was like, what if they're buying 10% now so they can wait until someone else wants to sell their piece, or until they can buy some more. Yeah. But maybe it's fine for now. Nobody panic, okay?
Nobody panic just yet. Just more put it on like, what are you doing, Sony?
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't be that guy, man.
Don't you mess with my my Souls likes. The OGs.
Like this game has been this series has been multi-platform since at least Dark Souls 1, and there was lots of, like, Miyazaki's been very interested in, like, this is very much the evolution of the multiplayer side of the Souls games, where it's like, hey, let's build an entire game based around the co-op aspect of a Souls game. And in fact, this might actually be the perfect Souls game that we might be able to just like, hey, no invaders, off.
Yes, I really hope it's that way. I hope there's not like a trailer 2 where all of a sudden it's like, here comes a red invader to fuck up your
invade other people's worlds.
Because this could also be a really good way to get people into the genre.
Toggle, like,
yeah, a toggle would be amazing.
I think that's the soft version, is make it toggleable, where you can, people who want to have invasions and have PvP, they can activate it. But people who just want to play co-op with their friends, they can be like, nope, let's just play it as is.
As is.
And maybe there's a thing there where it's like, hey, you toggle PvP off, but then your PvE experience gets slightly harder.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's a fair trade.
I wouldn't mind that trade.
Yeah. So, no, very, very happy about that. Trying to think how we transition to our next point here. Well, you know what? How about we talk about, since we've just done Kadokawa stuff, in terms of studios and whatnot, why don't we transition to XDefiant?
Yeah.
Because, like, what's our timeline here, Aaron, of release to now closure of game and studio? Is it both, or is it just the game?
It might be just the game, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were layoffs. I'm not seeing anything here in their statement. I think they're just sunsetting the game. Servers shut down June 3rd of 2025.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, all functionalities will be shut off at that date. There's no offline mode. Yikes.
Yeah, it's done.
And let me see if I can get like a start date on when this happened, because this was supposed to be the Call of Duty killer. May 21st.
Exactly, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, it hadn't even been that long, dude.
So it's like true full life cycle, if we're going up until June of next year when it's dying, that's a
little over a year?
13-month window. Yeah, 13 months basically.
Yeah, developed by Ubisoft and Ubisoft San Francisco. And they were, they were kind of trying to do this thing where they shove every Ubisoft game into one. They had the Splinter Cells, the Rainbow Six, the Assassins. There were characters from the Division and Far Cry and all sorts of things. But I think the problem is it was trying to be like Xbox 360 era Call of Duty, which is something a lot of people want. They want that classic Modern Warfare feel. And it also tried to be a hero shooter in the same way that Overwatch is.
Yep.
They had the payload missions.
Too many things at once.
Yeah, and the space is crowded, and I would argue that sometimes the gameplay felt very Counter-Strike-like, where it was like, God dang, time to kill can sometimes just be really fast, or if you weren't getting headshots, it just felt like an eternity to kill someone. And depending on what class you picked, you might have more or less shields, so you would die quicker. It was a fun game to play like every once in a while, but it never really hooked me, and I think that's the core issue. You have to have a player base that is hooked on this in the same way Overwatch players are really hooked into their games.
Yeah. On the cusp of this, I also saw this. Now, this article and these points about it are a little sensational. However, it's more of just pointing towards the statistical reality of financials for Ubisoft as a company, where their financial numbers are not looking good. They very much need a turnaround. They have a lot of debt. Their sales figures are not looking good. I think the most damning thing is if you keep scrolling down, look at the stock price.
Oh yeah, I think
that's scary.
Yeah, I think I talked about this on like a previous Shackcast episode. Like if you go even further back than this chart, what it shows, like if we go back, I think it was like 2014 or something like that. If you go back, that's the last time they had these type of numbers. Like the last time the number was when they were growing, and then the pandemic happened and a lot of things started going downhill a little bit. But as you can see, like most of the downhill is 2021, 2022. This is post-pandemic stuff. I mean, obviously you're still pushing out projects that you were developing during the pandemic, and things are rough and things are hard, but you're also pushing out a lot of flops, dude. Star Wars Outlaws, the Avatar game, you canceled that Division spinoff, Division Heartland that was going to be done. I mean, now you're shutting down XDefiant. You have Assassin's Creed Shadows as being like, kind of poorly received based on its like historical accuracy, and and people are kind of burned out on Assassin's Creed in general of just like, where's the story going? You're just making the same game over and over, and it's kind of the same thing with Far Cry at this point. They're really just pushing out the same thing over and over. Yeah, and they don't really. And what was the other one? They had the Battle Royale, Hypercharge.
Oh goodness, I forgot about that.
You forgot about that? Wait, let me see. Hyperscape. Ubisoft? Yeah, I think it was Hyperscape. Yep.
Yeah.
Season 1.
Woof.
And that was July 12th, 2020 that one came out.
Woof.
Let's see what else they have here in the article. And I mean, yeah, they haven't put out like a Splinter Cell game. They've just been piling on to Rainbow Six Siege, which makes them money, sure, but
Siege makes money, yeah.
But they're not making like new Rainbow Six Siege, and Breakpoint also didn't do very well at launch, even though now you could.
Breakpoint's in a good position now.
Yeah, But this
Breakpoint
is
fun
like
to play now.
this
but
is like
that's
4 years later, bro.
3 years later, yeah, you
Whatever.
can't do that.
And Skull and Bones. Oh no, I forgot about Skull and Bones. Did you forget about Skull and Bones?
Here's the thing. I bought Black Flag on a sale because I'm afraid that they're going to make a new version of Black Flag and delete the old version.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm holding on to the last Assassin's Creed game that I really liked, which was Black Flag.
That was a good one. And they've literally been making Skull and Bones since Black Flag. They've been trying to crack the code of like, how do we turn this into a multiplayer game and make it interesting?
Yeah.
And they literally did it in like the worst way. They turned it into like a survival crafting game, and it's like first person until you're like, when you're in your little rowboat or whatever, and then you go to shore, but like you don't really get to explore. It's kind of like a superficial, go to shore, talk to other pilots, do your Destiny thing where you go your storage box and dump stuff or whatever.
All the while, Sea of Thieves came out, wasn't very good, and then got better over time.
Yep.
And they just ignored all of what Sea of Thieves did and said, no, we're just going to do our own thing.
Yeah. And they shit the bed, and Sea of Thieves is absolutely destroying them. Why would you want to play any other pirate game, honestly?
Exactly. Yeah. If I want to play a pirate game, I will go get Sea of Thieves. And then I'm seeing further down here, Watch Dogs Legion of like...
No, I forgot about,
taking a series that was, it's kind of a cool idea, and like we're getting somewhere in terms of like what we're doing, and then Legion comes out and is like, what the fuck are we doing? What is this anymore?
Yeah, let's talk about what Legion is, by the way, because like Watch Dogs 1 was about Aiden Pierce. It was about the fears of a technological society where, an OS can run an entire city, from the streetlights, the power grid, the security cameras. Everything's hackable. It's your playground, but it's also kind of scary, and it's a dark vigilante tale. Then part 2 gets kind of wacky. You're like a hacker and an activist, and maybe like an eco-terrorist or something, whatever.
Yeah.
And then part 3 is Legion, where there's no main character. You play as anybody in the fucking city. And it just doesn't make sense. Everybody becomes a vigilante.
Becomes directionless.
Yeah, there's no main character. There's no story. There's no point. There's no investment. Why should I play? That's the question. So they fucked up on that one too. So I bet that's a couple $1 million down the drain on top of everything else we brought up. Yeah. I think For Honor is still going strong. I think they still get some microtransactions out of that.
It has its like core player base and diehards that will continue to go with it just because it's what they like to do. And For Honor's the core mechanical design of For Honor is very good.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also kind of felt with For Honor, I don't play it anymore, because it goes back into this whole thing of the catch up and, hey, how do I get up to playing in the core zeitgeist of the current player base? Well, you need to buy this DLC, this DLC, this DLC, and then grind these characters up until you're ready to play.
And you have to get good with those characters too. And everyone else is going to stomp you into the ground. Yeah. So now it even says that some say Tencent might buy out Ubisoft. Yeah, which is not a better solution. That doesn't sound good, man.
No.
And it says here Tencent is interested in Ubisoft's IPs, not its employees or corporate culture, which we could argue is all that's been pretty bad lately as well.
Yeah, it's not been great.
It's not good.
So, yeah, here's the thing. I don't foresee a logical, like, there's no fast turnaround for Ubisoft to fix things. This is very much they will very much have to look at what do they have, what is possible, and go back to like you can do some shorter term stuff in terms of give people what they've been asking for a long time. So say a new Splinter Cell, a new Six Vegas game, get those done and out and good. That will tide people over for a little bit of time, and then start looking at and examining your other IPs and seeing what's possible. Assassin's Creed needs a break. They need to stop and like logically think about what they're going to do with that series and what they want to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
They need to take a very honest look about what they have. Siege and For Honor can continue. They can keep developing and adding to those games because they have their core player base and there's nothing terribly wrong with them.
No.
They will continue to make money and be good games that are fun to play. It's the rest of their stuff that they need to take a real thought about what they want to do.
Oh, don't forget, remember they delisted the crew, like, entirely? Like, the first game's just fucking gone. So, abysmal business practices, as well as, like, self-deleting your own games from existence.
Yeah.
Like, there's no offline mode, there's no playable version of that game. It's just dead.
Yeah, it's just gone. Yeah. And I think that Crew 2 thing also sparked the whole zeitgeist and thought question around ownership of if we buy stuff on digital platforms, do we actually own that thing? Or do we just own basically a license to that thing that the company allows us to have it?
Yep.
So
and
then
can be revoked at any time.
Maybe I should go for physical media instead. But then I need hardware that can play physical media, but all hardware is moving towards digital only because it just makes it easier to play. And we're in this constant, like, rat race of different ideas and opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
Yeah, and gaming is also moving to being like a streaming service with Game Pass and PlayStation Plus and stuff like that.
Which is useful and easy to do, but it again brings up the whole thing of like, what things do I actually own and are able to play within the span of what I have? So, I don't know.
And it's even tough to get physical media because Target took out their Blu-ray section. Walmart is considering it, but they're the last bastion in the States is like Walmart. Because Best Buy got rid of their Blu-ray section, and I think it's a matter of time before the gaming section is just nothing. And like we said previously, I think Nintendo is like the only one that's like really like, hey, we're still using cartridges, guys. Like, you know, we're holding on to that physical media with the death grip. But at the same time, a lot of the games are cloud-based whenever they're trying to do like third-party games that are on other platforms. And granted, the Switch version is usually like the worst, most unplayable, visually horrific version of like Mortal Kombat or Overwatch or whatever.
Yeah.
Or Apex, oh my god.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what Ubisoft's plan and overall idea is for like what their future to be. I hope they do have a plan that they're going to do something in particular to do. Because I would like more. I still enjoy IPs that they have under their command, and I want more things to be done with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't know what the plan is.
I think they have one more DLC for Outlaws next year. They have Assassin's Creed Shadows, which they delayed because they were super worried when they saw the sales of Outlaws. They were like, wait, we can't just come out with this a month or two later and have this game flop. So, like, let's give it our due diligence. Let's make this game good. I wonder if they're in such trouble if they'll delay Shadows even further to just make it the perfect. Because there's no way in the gaming climate that we're in will this game just do so well that it pulls Ubisoft out of the grave. Like it could be the best game ever. It could be game of the year. But in the state that we're in, where people get mad over seeing a black guy in a game, and there's going to be boycotts on that, that's the last thing you need right now is people that are mad over culture war issues to tank the sales of your game, and it be kind of a mediocre game in the first place.
Yeah.
God. And I mean, it also gets back to Prince of Persia with the Lost Crown. Like, it may be a great game and all, but that's a very niche audience for the 2D, 2.5D Metroidvania type stuff. It attracts a certain audience, and I'm not saying they shouldn't make games like that because that was an award-winning game, but it also isn't it's not a bestseller in the way that like maybe some of the mainline Prince of Persias were, third-person action games. It wouldn't be unusual. It wouldn't be a bad idea to pump one of those out. But I mean, they can't even figure out how to remake Sands of Time at this point. I mean, they've been working on that for almost, I want to say a decade, but I mean,
as long as Metroid Prime 4 has been.
That's pretty much been the vibe, man. Yeah. I mean, the last one they did was it 2016 when they did Forgotten Sands with the movie, with the Prince of Persia movie? I'll just look up when they did Forgotten Sands. 2010. Shit. So yeah, it's been 14 years since Forgotten Sands, which was the last like 3D one.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's a little tough to bring a franchise like that back from the dead. And I mean, they're making mistakes left and right. We do know that a Splinter Cell remake of the first game is in progress, but I mean, we haven't heard anything beyond the initial like teaser screenshots that they released. So that's a little risky, and you never know. Like with all the games that it seems like they're just fucking up left and right. I really hope they don't mess up Splinter Cell. I don't think they can afford to.
Nope. I don't think so. Yeah. It's a tough situation.
Speaking of studios that are going under, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League.
So, yeah, can you explain to me what the hell's going on? So, number one, can you explain to me what happened with the most recent character? Because I often tune into Aaron's streams when he has new Suicide Squad content to play, just because I love him explaining to me and the audience, A, how do we unlock this character? B, what's the difference about this character that they've changed writing-wise? And C, like, how long is the progression? D, is it worth it in the end? Because, say, for example, with when they released the Joker, you said, the grind kind of sucked, but when I got to play him, the Joker's actually kind of fun to play.
He was great. He's really fun. His traversal's good. Things they changed. They gave him a peg leg. He's gay, which is not surprising. And he's an alternate universe Joker, and that kind of pissed off all the Arkham nerds. They were like, real Joker's dead. It's not Mark Hamill. They're crying about 90 other things while I'm just trying to explain how alternate universes work. But then they went wilder with it. They did Mrs. Freeze, who is a gender swap, and she's a lesbian, and because Nora Freeze is, her wife, and, it's more or less the same story. And it was kind of the right decision in that Mr. Freeze had the perfect send-off in Arkham Knight.
Right, yeah.
But at the same time, why make a new gender swap character when you can go with Killer Frost or Captain Cold or anybody?
Or do Nora becomes Freeze instead of the
Even that would be more interesting. Yeah. Like she gets cured somehow, and she does something.
Or it's just a literal time switch thing of it's Mr. Freeze who has the disease and is in the cryo.
Ooh, that would be kind of interesting.
I think that would be cool.
Yeah, they're not fans of making good decisions, because immediately after that, the next character is a literal unknown. Lawless was originally a member of the Suicide Squad member who premiered in like maybe one issue and he fought with the Suicide Squad in World War II. And he was like a white guy. But now it's Deadshot's daughter. So the Deadshot from the Arkhamverse was a white guy. But the Deadshot in Suicide Squad is a black guy.
Is a black guy.
But they explain in the universe that he's the real Deadshot and the other guy was like an imposter or something, which is a hell of a retcon, by the way.
Woof.
And, okay, so you're already off the rails, but now it's his daughter becomes a villain because she wants to be like a socialist and do crime, and she's a live streamer, and she's really cringy, dude. I mean, all the games that you see where somebody's a live streamer, like Screwball and Spider-Man, it's always super cringe,
I'm thinking
dude.
Of it was the one really detracting factor from Borderlands 3 that made me really disconnect with that game, was the villains of Borderlands 3 being like live streamers. It's just like,
no,
I don't care.
No, and they're like and subscribe, you know, like, and it's just like it's pop culture examining itself through that lens. Yeah, and granted, she comes out, and the thing I can say about every character is that they have really cool traversal, or they have really cool moves. But their character designs are kind of shit. They all look kind of ugly. Color palettes are ugly. And the only Joker I like is the Arkham Joker skin that I bought to put on Joker.
That you had to buy, right?
I had to buy that shit so I could be happy while I was, playing this game, which is kind of a hellscape for me at this point. So yeah, Lawless is that. And it just feels cringy and dumb to play as like a rebellious teenage daughter. I had to play a whole season worth of gameplay as her, and I was just, by the end of it, I was like, none of this dialogue is worth it. There's nothing being added to the story here. There's this brief moment where we rescue the Flash, and we find out that the Justice League isn't really dead. And anyone playing the game could, or anyone who's ever read a comic book could know that, even if really bad things are happening and characters are dying, it's usually not the end of the world.
No one ever really dies in a like superhero scenario. There's always a if scenario.
Exactly. So we start rescuing him, and you put him in like a recovery thing, and it's like, okay, so the next episode we're gonna rescue another member. Nope, nothing's happened. So now we're in season 4, and Deathstroke is being revealed, and the theme with season 4 is medieval for some reason.
Okay.
Yep. You should be lost. That's exactly how you should feel.
Because here's the thing. I like, of the members of the cast that I know bits and pieces about, Deathstroke is probably the one that I know a little bit more about, because I used to, like, I watched Teen Titans as a younger person. Like, I've seen other media surrounding his character stuff. Medieval is not what comes to mind when I think of him. I think of guns and tactics and tricks and traps and stuff like that. Medieval is not in that universe.
No, it's like they were watching A Knight's Tale and they were like, what if we made this into a game?
Martin Lawrence!
Yeah, oh my god.
Give me Martin Lawrence as a playable character.
Martin Lawrence. I mean, that's basically where they're at. So I haven't even unlocked Deathstroke, because when I got to the mission...
The mission was broken.
The mission was broken. Which just sums up this game in general. I literally played like 5 hours or something that night, and we got to the mission where it's like, defeat Brainiac, and then you will unlock the privilege of playing as Deathstroke.
Right.
And it was bugged, and I was like, I have enough of this. I rage quit the stream. I usually don't do that, but that's how mad I was. I I was mad. I was just demotivated. So at some point, I'm determined to go back. I'm sure there'll be like an update or
they fix it. Yeah.
And because I want to play as him. He's the most anticipated character, I think. And apparently, according to what it says on their blog here, he's been going around killing Brainiacs. So what this means is there's 13 Brainiac clones in this particular storyline. And we've killed... I've lost count, dude. We've killed like 4 or 5 of them. So apparently, so that they can wrap up the story in this last season 4, they've made it... they've retconned it enough where they're like, oh, well, Deathstroke's been out there, traveling the multiverse, killing all the Brainiacs. So now we only have a few left to kill or whatever it's going to be. So literally there is this episode, season 4, episode 7, where we unlock him and do all this stuff. And I don't know what the cutscene is, so we'll see what happens. But then there's season 4, episode 8, which is going to be the finale.
The end. Okay.
And that's supposed to come out, let me see if they had a date here. I thought they did. Sometime next year. And that's supposed to wrap up everything they're going to have. This is actually kind of good. They're going to have an offline mode. It's January 2025. So offline mode will be there. Everything will work just fine. They haven't said anything about, like, pulling in Avengers and giving you all the cosmetics from the store for free. But they did say that you would still be able to use any cosmetics that you had, not that you would be able to buy any, because they would, they'd disable all online features, Why keep the store open if nobody's playing, no one's buying, etc. And it's just so, and one more thing to kind of point out, that what they do every season is it's not that you're fighting in Metropolis, the main map that the entire game takes place in. For each season, you go to like a bunch of floating islands in the multiverse, and you fight there. So one season, the Joker season, it was like everything was wrapped up like presents and looked like a fun carnival or something, whatever. And then season 2, it was all frozen over because it was Mrs. Freeze. So it's just a bunch of frozen islands. It's all reskinned, right? Season 3 was really cool. It was actually Gotham. And you had all these points from like Arkham and landmarks from Gotham City that we had been in the Batman games. And that actually looked really cool. And the music was dope. But it didn't really fit with Lawless. And so now you have Deathstroke, who probably would have fit better with the Batman Arkham stuff. He's in a bunch of medieval floating islands with castles. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I don't know.
Like, that almost makes more sense had they picked, like, Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Or something else.
Something. I don't know. It just feels like they're making bad decisions on purpose.
So, it's interesting listening to you say all these things. What I think might be the case here is that if we look at the studio, is that the department that's handling actual development of how the game is played, the traversal mechanics,
right?
They know what's up. They know what they're doing. They're making like at least interesting things. The writing and the design set of the studio don't. And it's possible that they might just be like, they don't care anymore. They don't want to make like stuff or what have you. They may have been even like on other projects and got roped into this because, again, we talked about this in a previous podcast of you can't just pivot your studio that was a single player developing studio into a multiplayer live service title studio. People don't like just people who are good at making single player games aren't good at making live service games. And it doesn't matter what studio you are, it's going to fail. One of my favorite studios in the world, Platinum. Platinum's in a bad place right now because they made They made an absolutely terrible game.
No.
What the fuck is it called? I honestly
Wait, which one was the one that tanked him? Platinum Games.
That was... Okay, hang on. Let me pull up.
Because I heard that Transformers game was actually really good, even though
the Transformers game is awesome.
Oh, Babylon's Fall. Was it Babylon's Fall?
Babylon's Fall. And what an adequate name that is.
Oh my God, dude.
Because again, this was a live service action game from a studio that had produced up to that point single player action games.
Oh.
We look at all the prior games in this scenario of Nier Automata, Astral Chain, Wonderful 101, Bayonetta 1, 2, and 3. There is no reason they should have done Babylon's Fall. It was such a bad idea.
Yeah, it was a huge failure to like read the room.
Yeah. So I was very much like, you can't have a studio that's known for one thing and just tell them, hey, do this now. It doesn't work. So I think that's what's happening with your Justice League scenario of some of the team knows what they're doing. They're focused on just make the game fun to play and make it work. Whereas the rest of the team is just like, I don't want to do this. Like, you're telling me I have to do this, and I'm going to do this because it's my job, and I need my job to live.
But I'm not having fun. It's not passion.
So fuck it. I don't care anymore. Let's do dumb shit.
Let's do dumb shit. What if they're actually trying their best? What if someone really wants to insert all this identity politics? Because there is a lot of it, dude. I have to say, I'm not against, it's really neat that they put in a thing in the Hall of Justice where it says everyone's a hero and it has the rainbow flag and it's like, everyone's welcome.
And again, we've talked about how they could have done this.
Yeah.
Like, in other ways that make more sense.
Better ways. You could still have characters that are diverse and what have you.
It's okay to do a female Freeze because you could just do, hey, Nora is Freeze now, and Mr. Freeze has the disease and is in the cryotube, or just do Killer Frost, and Killer Frost is gay in this universe.
Yeah,
that's fine. But
it wouldn't be unusual, actually.
Of let's create something else new so that we can say what we like, what the writing team wants to say.
Exactly, and it's not well written, and the characters are not interesting. They're really not.
Yeah.
And that's why I say kind of the base game is really the only interesting part. Is seeing those initial 4 characters interact with the world and the story and seeing all your favorite characters on screen, although it's not an ideal circumstance in that you're killing the Justice League. I think that's a major thing that they should have read the room on, was like, nobody wants to kill their heroes. Like, we want to play as them. This would be, the first time that we would actually get them all together, especially in an Arkham-style game. Holy crap, people's impressions and just their thoughts were through the roof about a potential Superman game or a Justice League game, or who else could Rocksteady make a game about, once they sort of wrap up the Batman thing. But now we're hearing rumors that Rocksteady wants to remaster Arkham Asylum.
Which, again, it will sell.
It will sell.
Because it's Arkham Asylum, and it's a really good fucking game.
It's a really good game, as long as you don't fuck it up, but,
At the same time, like, we can't keep doing this. You gotta make new stuff.
You do.
Just keep going back to the IPs that you have and own, and let's do it again, but in Unreal 5 and all these different things. Because at a certain point, people are gonna be like, "No, I'm good."
Naughty Dog hadn't made a game in 5 years. They keep remastering Last of Us 1 and 2.
People were making jokes that Naughty Dog actually announced 2 games at the Game Awards, which is their new game Intergalactic, and then the remake that will come out a year later.
Yeah. Goddamn. Shit. Not to mention the PC port that will come out whenever.
Not to mention the PC version, yeah.
Which when they revealed the Last of Us Part 2 coming to PC, I was like, does Last of Us Part 1 even work on PC? Like, did they ever fix the issues with that? Like, it was... Like, why would I even invest? I love these games, but, like, I'm not going to buy it if it runs like crap on PC or looks horrible, you know?
Yep.
Wait, we're in a pickle here. And apparently they did let go, I think there were layoffs, 99 people at Warner Brothers Montreal, which they're not, you know, this is Rocksteady doing Suicide Squad, but Montreal, they did... Well, they have a lot of QA testers, but also they have people that worked on Gotham Knights, which also didn't do very well.
Gotham Knights is Gotham.
That's a whole other story. And that's another thing. It's just everything WB has been doing is just like, you made a game where Batman dies and we only play as the Bat family. It would have been cool to play as Batman and the Bat family all together.
Yes.
But you did the unpopular thing where you kill off Batman and we play as his like shitty underlings in a not super great game. It's decent. It's fun with friends, but the combat they changed from the Arkham combat, which I see why they did. They wanted to make a kind of a looter shooter fighter game, and it just really didn't pan out very well because there's a lot of lag with your combat actions, and there's sort of a weird movement system where if you jump off a gargoyle, you can't land directly below the gargoyle, or your character kind of default launches forward, even if you don't want them to, when they go off a ledge, if that makes sense. We had to do like a study live on stream of like, okay, can you try to land in this spot? No, you can't. So how are you going to do stealth if you can't like land directly behind the guy you need to be behind? If you launch yourself in front of him because you ran off the platform and the game just like launches you in some untold direction, just screws you over. So I don't know. There's a lot of games that are making some bad decisions, and it just seems like, dude, if you just gave us a Superman game, or if that's too difficult, you know, what about the Wonder Woman game we haven't heard anything about in a couple of years? I don't know. It's a very tricky situation.
Well, the nice thing is the other side of the coin in terms of superhero stuff is doing pretty good because Marvel Rivals is a lot of fun to play.
God, it really is, isn't it?
It makes me feel like launch time of Overwatch 1 because we are in the state of everybody is learning their characters. We are learning who's fun to play, who's not fun to play, who's a pain in the ass to deal with. And like, it's just one of those things where it hasn't, people are just playing the game, and I think we've just got the first content patch for the game where, as we kind of talked about on the stream, where it's just like, hey, look, marketable characters that we can reskin into different seasonal cosmetics. So for example, with the new update, Jeff gets a free skin. Where it's just him in a little hat, and let me see if I can do this here.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, so yeah, Jeff gets a new cosmetic.
You pull that up. That's funny.
And then the rest of the skins are purchasable as you want. With like Groot has a skin, Rocket has a skin, Venom has a skin, and I think that third one...
Is that magic?
Is that magic? I think it's magic, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just establishing the overall baseline of, hey, we can just, as we're going through, not only will we do cosmetics from different movies and comics, we're also going to get seasonal skins. So we're going to get Christmas skins, we're going to get Halloween skins, we're going to get probably like Valentine's Day skins and all these different things. And it's just, those are additional carrots and stuff to keep along the way while we wait for new content patches in terms of, like, say, new maps, new modes, new characters, which we can wait a long time because there's the number of characters this game launched with was really surprising. Like, there's a big roster when you look at it in totality.
I have to agree with that. That's isn't it like 30? It's kind of my guess.
What are we at?
Like, it's a lot.
Dynamic hero synergy. Let's see here. Marvel Rivals roster. 33.
Yeah.
Like that's a big character.
It's a lot of
to
characters.
have that on launch is crazy. Because I think, say, Overwatch, I can't remember what their roster is at now. I want to say it's probably comparable, if not a bit more. But that's now.
Yeah, it came out in
Overwatch 2
2016.
after years of like additions and content.
God.
Yeah, and to our point about your point about the Justice League of coming up with these new designs for pre-existing characters, some of these designs for Marvel Rivals are technically new designs of existing characters, but every single one of them looks cool.
They're all bangers. No, wait, hang on. Wait, I gotta bring up Suicide Squad. I gotta show it on screen. Look at what this is. Season 4 right here. Look at what this is. Joker, Captain Boomerang. I think that one's supposed to be Deathstroke, but he's wearing like Dr. Fate's helmet, but it's blue and orange. And then there's Harley Quinn. And every fucking season has been like this. They're wearing like weird LexCorp armor or Toyman, like toy outfits that make them look like Mr. Freeze or something. Like, the designs and the color schemes for their characters, it's not good. It's not good. You know, the default design sometimes kind of interesting, like we see Deathstroke on screen. But then you see, like, look at Storm. Like, absolute banger.
Let's look up one picture of Storm.
Picture of Storm. Like, banger. Art style, killer.
Cool.
Outfit, incredible. Color scheme, perfect. A+, you know? Like, you could have done the color scheme a bunch of different ways. You could have done black. You could have done white. You could have done the blue and yellow. Like, there's so many different ways that you could accessorize Storm and not fuck it up. And look, they did great. And yeah, and this is another one. I mean, Namor to me is like the laughing stock, right? Like, he's Aquaman, dude. But even he looks freaking cool.
He looks cool.
With his stupid little winged ankles, he looks so freaking cool, you know? But this game has something going for it. It really does have that, like, that kind of Japanese art style, almost like an anime, in that, what is it, like, it's not cel-shaded per se, but it's like, got that...
It's not cel-shaded, but it's basically taking a lot of those, like, what I'd almost call cover art comic book designs.
Yeah.
Not the initial, like, what they look like in the individual panels. What they look like on the covers of comic books is what, like, a lot of these designs for the game look like.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, if I have anything that's
I
comparable.
look at the whole roster here, and there's not a single one of these 33 characters where I don't think it's a good design.
Yeah,
Like,
that's absolutely
everybody wins. Like, even, again, talking about a design where you change what is known. Magneto with no purple.
Yeah.
I'm not mad.
Crazy ballsy move. And they gave him the beard under all that, but like it looks so good.
It looks so cool. Yeah, it's so good. There's no design that isn't cool of the roster.
And they all play really well. I mean, we test them out in training mode and seeing how different characters coordinate and like, oh, what's the AoE of this special ability, you know? What's the damage rate on this weapon, you know? We were having a blast, and we probably did that for like an hour or two before we even got in the match.
Another thing is, hey, probably one of the most like innocuous things that you don't think about until you experience good and bad is menus. Marvel Rivals' menus feel good to move around in. Every single icon has a special animation. When you hover over characters in the hero gallery, they all go into their different poses. Every like button in the menu has additional like flared flashy text like a comic book panel.
Yeah.
This was a team that knew what they were doing. They knew their source material of like, hey, people like when superheroes are flashy and interesting. Let's put that in the game. So, yeah, I need to play more Rivals.
Same.
I have not been, mainly because Helldivers has stolen all my time. But eventually I will go back and play more Rivals because it feels... But at the same time, I'm also not afraid to... I don't have a FOMO with Rivals because of, like... the fact that, hey, it's a Marvel game that is really good. I know this game is going to get support and updates and keep going. I don't have to worry about that if I miss the opportunity, it's going to get canceled and shown off. It will just keep going. Like, it will just keep getting stuff. I have no fear about it. And with the battle passes of like, hey, I don't have to worry about, oh, I missed the season, I can't get these cosmetics anymore. Nope. If I see cosmetics in the past that are cool, I will grab them and play them. And they've already got a Twitch drops campaign so that if you're watching different content creators, there's going to be... And I haven't even started looking at videos for Marvel Rivals because I remember when I watched a lot of Overwatch content. I watched people just play Overwatch because it was fun to watch them play and have fun with their friends and do stuff within it. I haven't done that for Rivals yet because I just haven't watched anything. But I bet there's an entire new set of people that are basically making their own... becoming content creators because of playing Rivals.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah. They're creating character, profiles of like, here's how you can play this character in this way, Yeah, I haven't even dove into that myself, because I remember that about Overwatch as well. It was just something that every streamer was playing, and it was something that you genuinely enjoyed watching because you wanted to see how one character would frame up against another, and when you weren't playing, you wanted to be watching because you wanted to be learning about how you could play a particular character better. So did they debuff Iron Fist yet? Did they nerf him into the ground?
I don't know, because I've still seen a lot of videos of people just absolutely styling on people with Iron Fist.
Okay, maybe I need to play as him before the glory moments are over. I need to
get that Helldivers railgun feel to him.
Yeah, oh god, yeah, when that happened it broke a lot of hearts, man. But I mean, I'm pulling up all the characters on screen here off their website, and I mean, you can just see
every fucking design is so cool.
They're all banger, and it's the same with the gameplay. Like the gameplay for each character, they play how you want them to play. They got the moves that you know from the comics and the movies and stuff. I mean, it's everything you want it to be, which is, kind of a rare thing in gaming nowadays. We get a lot of games where it's like, oh, I wish this game was good, but look at Payday 3. It launched broken. It, made a lot of mistakes that, Payday 2 had literally become the pinnacle of that type of game. And Payday 3 was like, what if we threw all that in the dumpster and just started fresh? And didn't offer a complete title from the get-go. Now, they're in a better state now, but I mean, it's, we don't want to buy a game for what it will be someday. We want to buy it for what it will be.
What it is now.
And Marvel Rivals, from the get-go, and it's free to play. You literally just download it, dude.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's not a hard in where it's like you got to tell your friends, well, you got to have $40 or $70 or something to invest, and then you got to buy the Battle Pass and have the DLC and whatever else. It's just like, no, man, you just got to download and jump in and let's play. Yeah, there's something about that. It's almost like they're sketched and then colored in, because you can see some of the, like they didn't erase all the sketch marks. Yeah, some of the lines are still there. And it looks good.
Oh, cool.
Like it's a good art decision. Cool. It really is. It really is. Just looking at it makes you want to play the game. And even Wolverine. And I mean, they also got the best voice actors too. Everyone you would expect.
Oh my god!
Fuck.
Like hearing Liam O'Brien voice Doctor Strange is just like, yep, that's what I want.
That's the good stuff.
That's what I want. Yeah, and everybody. There's nobody on the voice cast that doesn't feel like their character. Like Spider-Man sounds like Spider-Man, Thor sounds like Thor. Like everybody sounds how I picture them in my head to sound.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No. Fantastic.
Even their website's designed like the way the main menu works, in that it's all very animated, it's all very comic booky. This sounds muted right now, but I mean, every time you click something, like there's a song playing, or there's like a whoosh sound or whatever it may be.
Interactive design. Make your product and or service interesting to interact with. It's a lot of additional design work to do it, and it's oftentimes where design and fundamental coding, that's where they start to clash, where coding just wants it to work and be fine, whereas design wants it to be cool and interactive, and often puts more work on coding to do that. But at the same time, when you do it correctly,
you get this.
A
masterpiece.
The audience just goes, "Yep, this is fun to interact." The menus, again, if you can make the simple things good, it makes like everything else just that much better.
Indeed. And we did kind of have the sneaking suspicion that, hey, the hero shooter genre is a little crowded, maybe Marvel isn't enough to let a game float, like Marvel is a big franchise, but like it might not be enough to save you. It wasn't enough to save Marvel's Avengers, it wasn't enough to save Gotham Knights. It's not enough to save Suicide Squad, that it's linked the DC. I mean, you have to have the soul of a good game beneath all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. And
So,
like right now,
and it's dominating.
Marvel Rivals is eating Overwatch's lunch. Like, it's over, man.
It's over.
Like the time, it's so interesting watching Blizzard right now, where it's like, okay, do I want to play Overwatch 2 or do I want to play Marvel Rivals?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to play Rivals. Do I want to play Diablo 4 or do I want to play Path of Exile 2? Well, I'm going to play Path of Exile 2. I haven't even started either of them. Now I'm going to play Path of Exile 2.
Yeah, that's for real. I mean, these other games have come in kind of out of nowhere and caught Diablo and Overwatch off guard. You know, maybe they got too comfortable. Maybe they made some mistakes here and there, and it's cost them their entire thing. I mean, look at the way Fortnite stomped all over PUBG.
Yep.
You know, nobody's debating whether to play PUBG or Fortnite.
No,
it's very rare. That's a very niche audience that's probably still over there in PUBG land. You know, you make one too many mistakes, and sure enough, someone else comes along and does it better and picks up the slack where you left off, you know? Man.
Mm-hmm.
Exciting times.
Mm-hmm.
And now the struggle is, what game do you play? You know, Marvel Rivals, Space Marine 2, Helldivers 2.
Now the struggle is like time investment of what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The nice thing is, at least say in the scenario of something like a Helldivers 2 and a Space Marine 2, if you're pretty much content complete on Space Marine 2, where your characters are leveled up and you've done the new stuff, it's okay to kind of put it on the back burner and just wait for more content will come. I will play it. Whereas Helldivers 2, you can play it reasonably consistently with the way that the evolving map works and all that. Yeah, you can very much consistently play it. And Rivals is another one where it's like you can come back to it and play it when you have the time, but I don't feel a need or a rush to play it.
Yeah.
It's there. It's gonna be there.
Yeah, and they each have battle passes that you can return to. The war bonds on Helldivers are unlockable with in-game currency, and you can come back to those anytime. There's still several that I haven't completed because they were coming out with them so fast for a while. Now they kind of slowed down where they give you enough time to actually finish a battle pass before the next one comes out, or war bond, as it were. But yeah, I mean, the only thing about Helldivers is kind of like what I'm going through. I'm not able to get on when the mission is active, so I'm missing
limited because they kill them too fast.
Yeah, I'm missing that. So it's not that I'm having too much FOMO, but there are. I mean, it feels like you should at least hit up Helldivers like once a week to like keep up with the story elements and get your like weekly allotment of consumables that you unlock for, you know, completing the weekly objective and whatever. And just being part of the community. I mean, you want to accomplish all the goals and get access to new vehicles and new weapons. I mean, there was a time where they were like, hey, if you complete this mission, you'll get the anti-tank mines. And then we failed that week. And then it got delayed for like a month, you know? Like, there were real consequences to losing that. Within the game world, so it's almost like, yeah, you gotta play a little bit, but once again, no pressure, right? Like, it's, you don't have to, but it's like, it's a joy to be involved when you want to. Pretty cool. Anything else you want to talk about today?
I think the only other thing that I can see is I wanted to ask you your thoughts on Steel Hunters.
Okay. I was kind of upset at first because I was like, "Oh, no controller support.
No
I'm probably
controller
gonna
support on
probably
PC.
gonna play this
Yeah.
for like 10 minutes," and then
Yeah.
I loaded into the mission, and my controller started working at that point. So I was like, "This is weird,
Mm,
very
yeah.
weird." But it plays kind of slow. I feel like,
So
yeah,
it's a wargaming
okay.
game.
And I've played World of Tanks, so I'm
This is
familiar with that.
a scenario from like and it's interesting when you look at the game page on Steam,
Uh huh.
and if you have a controller plugged in and turned on, it says controller is not supported.
Oh no,
So
that's
that
not good.
tag is actually lies.
Ooh, I don't like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Warships, War Thunder, or wait, no, War Thunder is I think a different dev team, but definitely Warships, World of Tanks, and Warplanes.
Uh huh.
This is from the same um publisher and developer. Um I think overall visual design in
Uh
the
huh.
way that these robots move and work, they are super cool.
Yes.
I love the art direction around the way that they're built. And I love how it's not just bipedal mechs with rifles and abilities and stuff. We've got the crab, we've got the panther, we've got, and honestly, I saw a bit of your stream of playing with the crab.
Yep.
The crab is a lot of fun to play.
The crab was really cool, and it was very fast, dude. Like when you step on a spider, but you don't kill it, and then it gets really angry and it starts moving super fast. That's what was happening when I was sprinting around as that thing. And then when you dodge, you do like a flip, like he flips on his back and rolls over, and it was
Yeah, and also
ridiculous.
just like very much where the World of Tanks thing succeeds of being able to walk one direction as the crab and then turn your body to shoot so that you can strafe around people.
Yep,
It
it's a good move.
feels like playing it, even in terms of playing it versus bots, it felt a lot like it reminded me of the couple times I've played Hunt the Showdown of
Okay.
hey,
Yeah.
we're like there's NPCs and stuff on the map to kill, but the main true thing you want to get rid of is taking out the other hunters and mechs on the map, because if you can get them early, it becomes a lot faster because their upgrades aren't as powerful and we can quickly take them down. Because of the way the terrain works, you can kind of like sneak around people and like pincer them from two sides because you've got two people. I again, it's one of those things where I think design wise and all the other things, it is a very interesting looking thing. And again, the whole idea and some of the universe building that they have with some of their trailers and their artistry stuff is really cool looking. But you have to talk about the way the game actually plays. And if the game isn't fun to play, and if controller support is not consistent, it feels weird. So I played this game with a mouse and keyboard, and
yeah, how'd that go?
It feels kind of cool to play mouse and keyboard, but I completely also agree that if you either don't want to, or like it will literally cause your hands to lock up if you do it for too long,
then you have an
it's
issue.
not going to be a fun experience. But yeah, it looks super cool. I love all these designs and stuff. Like again, it's one of those things where I look at this and I'm like, damn, I want this to get popular enough where they start making model kits of these figures, because those kits would be so fucking cool to build.
That would be.
So I think this is almost a wait and see scenario where
that's where I'm at.
There's a lot of good bones, but it needs some more work in terms of some further details and like finer tuning. That said, we are presently at a open beta version of the game. This is not the full proper game. So there's still some questions to be had in terms of what the future of it looks like. The other question I always have is also monetization.
Oh boy.
Because that's the other thing that I've heard from people who really like to play wargaming games, say like World of Tanks and stuff, where if you're in it and you're playing it consistently and you're getting the in-game currency from playing the game, it can be a lot of fun. But if you're having to play catch-up, it becomes a bit of a pain in the ass because you have to invest, because it's probably going to be a free-to-play game. If it's a free-to-play game, there will always be some sort of monetization, and then it becomes, how do you deal with that? Is that monetization purely cosmetic, or can I just pull out my credit card and start buying power?
Yeah, and start like purchasing mechs that other players won't have, or oof. Yeah, that could be a rough scenario for sure.
Yeah. But like, if you like, I'm looking at the visuals that you have up on stream.
It does look really
cool. It reminds me of stuff from like District 9. Like it gives me like Neil Blomkamp aesthetics in terms of the way the mechanical detail of the mechs look. And the fact that all the environments break apart as you walk and smash through them.
That was a cool feature for sure.
God, it's super cool.
But yeah, letting us test drive a couple different mechs and having different maps already in a playtest form is really strong, really cool. I'd like to see what else the game evolves into, because I mean it's kind of a battle royale / extraction shooter type vibe. Like, how is that going to play later on? Like, is there always going to be good gear to extract with, or new weapons, or skins, or will we be, could there be a potential where you're upgrading your mech and then you bring that upgraded mech into the next game until you die or something, almost like Call of Duty's DMZ, where it was like you would get good guns so that you could come into the next match with those good guns. But then you get into a balancing issue, and it's actually kind of good that everyone's like low level when you start, because it's all fair until you start grinding kills and killing other players and killing the AI and stuff like that. Because I won several of the AI matches, and I was like, man, this game's kind of easy. But then after a while, I came up against some other enemies that wiped us out. And when I lost all my upgrades and they were level 5 and I was not, I was like, oh, this game's hard. This is rough. This is not good. You're not. Basically, don't die is the motto. Because if you can't get to where your gear is because the enemy team is like camping it and stealing it or whatever, it's like, oh my god, there go all my upgrades. I'm totally screwed. But it's a gorgeous game. But yeah, I think I agree with you. It's definitely a wait and see. It's like, how's this game going to be? Let's play test it some more at every opportunity. I'd be happy to. And I hope controller support is a consistent thought.
Yeah, and that they more can, like, clearly show, like, hey, something like, hey, controllers don't work in the menus, but in the actual game they do. And maybe also just add in menu support.
Yeah, it can't be that hard, man. Like, it's 2024, guys.
Yeah, so there's, like, again, wait and see. You've got some cool designs and some look here. I would be very much interested to see what you do with it.
Indeed. Yeah, that one's looking pretty good. Pretty interesting. Oh yeah, we still, I think we were wanting to talk about Dark Tide, but I don't think we've had our session on that. So
we need to go play Dark Tide.
Yeah, we'll
first
get back to you on that
talk
one,
about
gamers. That's yeah, because there's
Get that on a pin.
Yeah, we gotta do that one.
Mhm.
Stay tuned on that update. But man, I think we really hit everything. A lot of the Game Awards stuff. We'll have to keep an eye on. I know you were talking about which BAFTAs and Golden Joysticks. Did they already do those?
I'm not sure.
That's an award show, and then we also probably want to check out DICE in the new year. DICE usually does their thing in 2025, and of like all the award shows, I feel like that one's usually kind of the one that actually pays tribute to the artists. Like it's not a trailer fest. It's a moment where they give everyone time to speak. It's more true to the Oscars type of
recognition of artistry in an interactive format.
Oh yeah, it looks like they did that in November.
Oh, okay.
The Golden Joysticks. So yeah, we'll might have to see what one over there. Oh, I have it right here. Do you want to go over it real quick?
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna put it on screen here so we can kind of react. It's just like one big file here. It says Best Storytelling, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Best Visual Design, Black Myth Wukong. Best Multiplayer, Helldivers 2. Best Audio Design, Astrobot. Best Game Expansion. How hard can it be, guys?
Shadows of the Earth Tree. Exactly.
Exactly what you gotta do, brother. Best Indie Game, Self-Published, Another Crab's Treasure.
I need to go play Another Crab's Treasure. That is made by Aggro Crab, who made a awesome game called Going Under.
Oh, okay.
Another Crab's Treasure it's basically a Sekiro game where you play as a little crab in an ocean that is dealing with the pollution of humanity.
I could see that, yeah.
He goes on a little adventure to kind of look for a treasure.
Oh.
I've seen many different chunks of it. It looks so cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Best Indie Game, Balatro. Studio of the Year, Team Asobi. Oh my god. It's a sweep, guys. Best Soundtrack, Final Fantasy VII. Yeah. Best Game Trailer, Helldivers 2.
It's 2.
Interesting. Best Early Access Game, Lethal Company.
Lethal? Yep. Can't disagree with that. Lethal's awesome.
Still playing on mobile, Honkai Star Rail. Makes sense. Still playing consoles and PC, Minecraft. Wow.
It's the Eternal.
Streamer's Choice Award, Chained Together. That's pretty popular for the live streams.
Yeah.
Breakthrough Award is Balatro. Best gaming hardware is the Steam Deck OLED. That's an interesting category as well.
Yeah.
Best hardware.
Yeah.
Huh. Best game adaptation, Fallout. Not surprising here. Best supporting performer, Brianna White. That's Aerith.
Aerith.
Best lead performer, Cody Christian as Cloud. Wow. Okay. PC Game of the Year is Satisfactory. Console Game of the Year, Helldivers 2. Holy shit. Critics.
Now, I would like to also say here.
Yeah, what's going on here?
I fully agree with Console Game of the Year for Helldivers 2 because it's the one and only thing that I will complain about for Steam version of Helldivers 2. Yeah. Holy fuck, it hates your CPU.
Yeah, it really does.
It hates your CPU.
No, it runs so much better on the PS5. I have it on both platforms, and it's rough on PC, and it's even worse on Steam Deck. It looks like a PSP game on the Steam Deck.
It looks like Helldivers 1.
Yeah, it really does, man. So they won Console Game of the Year, Critics' Choice Award, Best Game Trailer, and Best Multiplayer Game. That's insane. Okay. Most wanted game, GTA 6, of course. Ultimate Game of the Year, Black Myth Wukong.
Black Myth Wukong.
Well, they got their love right there, didn't they?
Yep, exactly. That's the thing.
Interesting. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll have to check in on the awards next year and see what DICE does. I want to see where all that lands. And if there's any updates from any other, I think there's the Spawnies as well. I think that also comes out next year, is another award show. And they do a lot of stuff that's related to, it's like indie studios, but also they acknowledge games that are made by like people of color and stuff like that. They put more of a spotlight on that than, say, the Game Awards might, where it's
mainstream.
Where it's more mainstream. Yeah, exactly. Well, if you've got nothing else, I think we'll leave it right there.
Yeah, I think that's a good closer.
All right, gamers, thank you all for watching. I want to thank Andrew, ActingRelic, for coming out. Tell them where you can be found.
You can find me on both Twitch and YouTube. I haven't been streaming a whole lot recently. I might change that in the near future. And I also I'm presently in the works of building a video to potential series for YouTube.
Oh, nice.
I came up with an idea for a particular playthrough that I've recorded a whole bunch of it. I've written the script for the first video. I have to go in and do all the like further editing stuff of actually record audio and put it all together. But gratefully, I have some time off coming up soon, so hopefully that will be coming out soon. I'm very interested to see what the end product of all that looks like, but I think it could be a cool idea for a series. And it's been a long time since I've gone and like sat down and made a proper video. A lot of the stuff I've been doing over the last little bit is a lot of live streaming or highlights and stuff, which is a lot of fun, but I really do like recording and creating a story of sorts.
There's nothing like it, man. I did one a while back, and it feels good to craft something like that.
Yep.
Where you really have to put it all together, and it's a labor of love, and it's something that's a little more creative than our usual exploit of, well, turn on the game, turn on the camera, you know? Just
let's fuck around.
Yeah, just fuck around for a couple hours and talk to chat. So, yeah, it's super cool. Well, I'm excited for that. That's some really cool stuff to look forward to. So make sure you like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Thank you all for watching and listening to the Shackcast. We'll have another episode out shortly. We took kind of a long break over Thanksgiving and starting up the second channel and all that. So it's been like a huge undertaking, and I've been struggling with just how do you juggle a podcast? How do you juggle an entirely separate channel? And how do you juggle new games coming out every week? And you just feel like you want to cover every single one of them. There's just not enough time. So I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you'll take care, be safe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.